Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Carpe Diem seize the day. Thanks so much for tuning in to ERGJ. I'm ERGJ from ERGJ Enterprises, and we are back with our financial book club. And we are going through the book, How Rich People Think by Siebold. Steve, I'm coming from my check. Now, we're on day number 97, going through our 100-day journey. And here's the deal, guys. It only takes 15 minutes a day. That's right, 15 minutes a day to keep broke away. And so what we're doing is we are actually changing the way we think by changing what we put into our membrane so we can actually change our results. So if you're having some issues with income, with profit, with revenue, you might want to start changing the way that you think about money so you can actually change your relationship with money as well. And what we're doing is we are just depositing rich resources into our life. I truly believe that wealth begins in the mind. You must be wealthy in your mind long before you're wealthy in your wallet. Well, hey, I know that you don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time. It's day number 97. Let's get it. The middle class has access to the social skills of the masses, while the world class has access to the social skills of the most refined among us. In the comments below, I want you to put the word access. That's right, access. What I've learned is all about access. The middle class has access to the social skills of the masses, while the world class has access to the social skills of the most refined among us. The average person has been trained to interact and communicate with the middle class. In school, we are taught manners, and we learn most of our social skills through the experience of mixing with others and observing their behavior. Most people never go beyond this level of social skills training. The rich speak a language of their own and have unwritten social rules few outsiders understand. People who attempt to enter their social circles are quickly rejected if they don't follow these rules. This isn't elitism, as the masses have always claimed, and Hollywood has satirized. It's simply a matter of wanting to connect with others who understand their unique world. Hey, what's going on, Art? How are you? It's like visiting a country where you don't speak the language. Now, here's the deal. I've said this before, we have to begin to understand the language of money, understand the language of the wealthy and the rich. Many of us understand the language of the poor. Many of us understand the language of the middle class, but we haven't tapped into understanding the language of the rich. Now, for example, if you were a student and you wanted to become a doctor, then you would have to understand the language of doctors. If you were traveling abroad and you wanted to go to France, then you would have to learn. You would want to learn the language in which the country that you're going. And so I attribute it to the stock market, right? Like, we don't understand the language of the stock market or the terminology, so therefore we are confused or scared because all of the language is abnormal to us. But you can learn the language just like you can learn any other language. You just have to take the time to study and practice. You know, you either study and then you go abroad, or you just go abroad and you just hang out with the people until you start understanding. You're a baby, right? Baby got to learn just by assimilation. So are we even hanging out in places where rich people are? Are we even studying the language of the rich, or are we continuing to speak the language of the poor? For example, I went yesterday to speak to the kids, the high school students, and I asked them, would they rather make money off of their effort, or would they rather make money off their money? In other words, would you rather trade your time for money, like we normally do, working 8 hours a day, getting a check, you get checked for your time, or would you rather have your money be making money for you 24 hours a day? So one lady, teenage girl, said she would rather put in her effort because she knows what she's going to get back from her effort. And I had to correct her. I said, well, that's the language of the poor. We always want to work hard for our money. There's nothing wrong with that. But why not also learn how to make your money work hard for you? See, there's a language, and we've learned the language of the poor, and we continue to operate out of the language of the poor as well. And we continue to see ourselves just getting by. Well, it's time out for just surviving. It's time for us to start learning a new language so that we can actually thrive. All right, this isn't elitism, as the masses have always claimed and Hollywood has satirized. It's simply a matter of wanting to connect with others who understand their unique world. It's like visiting a country where you don't speak the language. It's fun, but difficult to connect to people with whom you can't communicate. Millionaires live in a different world than the middle class, and their mindsets are very different. The masses are just trying to survive and avoid pain, while the great ones are chasing their dreams and always creating new ones. One of the favorite topics of a middle class gathering is complaining about the lack of money and how expensive things are. This conversation is considered taboo by the world class. Complaining of any kind is frowned upon, and the only talk of money is usually reserved for charity functions, art functions, or other settings where it's discussed in the context of giving it away. Only the newly rich are unsophisticated enough to discuss money at social gatherings, and this is sometimes overlooked but never endorsed by the more experienced members of the group. The best way to learn the social skills of the wealthy is to get as much exposure to them as possible. Say it again, the best way to learn the social skills of the wealthy is to get as much exposure to them as possible. Everybody say access, exposure. It's all about access. Move to a wealthy neighborhood, attend charity functions, or take up tennis or golf. Join the nicest country club in town. Vacation in places like Palm Beach or in Aspen. Go where the rich go and do what they do. Go where the rich go and do what they do. Now, I would also say this. Maybe you can't afford to go to all these places. I mean, I'm pretty sure you might be able to take up tennis or golf. You might not be able to afford to go to the nicest country club in town. You may not be able to afford to go on vacation in Palm Beach and Aspen. But a lot of what these rich people also do is they write books and they leave their valuable wisdom in things like this. 15 minutes a day to keep broke away. But as we know, many of us choose not to read. And we also know, and I've also found that many of us have these wonderful gadgets called a smartphone that gives us access to anything in the world that we want to get access to. But if I ask you today to open your phone up and show me all the apps that you've downloaded from the App Store, are any of them anything smart about them? So we got access. Let's not be fooled and think we don't have access. I've got access to the thoughts of Warren Buffett. I got access to the thoughts of Mark Zuckerberg. I got access to the thoughts of millionaires and billionaires that have come through our past, and they've left little nuggets of wisdom for those who want to find it. And here's the deal. Seek and you will find. Ask and the door will be open unto you. But many of us, we just don't take the time to find. Let me say that again. We just don't take the time to find. So let's not be fooled and think we don't have access. We may not be able to afford all these things, but a charity function you can probably go to. Anyway, learn their language and culture so you can hang in their circles. When you do, they will welcome you with open arms and be more happy to help you become even more successful. The story of the guy, Pursuit of Happiness. He was, you know what I'm saying? Think about him, Chris Gardner. He was broke, but he kept knocking on that door so he can get access to capital, to being able to be a broker and a trader online. You know what I'm saying? And now he's got even more access. So let's not act like we don't have access. Let's not act like the doors cannot be knocked on. Let's not act that. What we can say is we probably are not persistent enough to get in the door because we lack hustle. We like hustle. We rather says what they say, the misery loves company. We want a lot of company. All right, what I like about this book, guys, is that not only do we have a passage today, what's going on, Justin? Not only do we have a passage today, but we also have a quote of the day, a critical thinking question of the day, and also an action step of the day. So here's our quote of the day from Robert Schuller. He says, you never suffer from a money problem. You always suffer from an idea problem. That sounds like my quote. Robert Schuller, you been listening to me? All right, you never suffer from a money problem. You always suffer from an idea. But I tell you guys, I didn't know he said that. I've been saying that for a long time. You don't have a money problem. What you have is an idea problem. But I guess I need to know. I didn't know Robert Schuller said it, okay? I've been saying this for 10 years. But I guess somebody else said it before me. Anyway, I'm not plagiarizing. I'm not Ivanka Trump, okay? All right, so you never suffer from a money problem. You always suffer from an idea problem. What's up, Aaron King? What's going on, Brother Coleman in the business, in the building? Here's your critical thinking question today. Here's what you want to think about as related to what we've discussed today. Are your social skills closer to middle class or world class? Are your social skills closer to middle class or world class? And I would say I meet so many people who have stinking thinking. That's right, stinking thinking. And it's going to be hard for one to rise financially if your social skills are so low. And you can only hang out with the ratchet. You can only hang out with the hood. You can only hang out with, you know what I'm saying? there's a different level of etiquette, of refinement that takes place, hopefully, as you mature, and that you learn to see the difference between the north side and the south side. Now, not that we have to change who we are, but I heard I had a friend of mine who called it this. He called it corporate thugging. He you know what I mean? Like as an African American, I got to wear a lot of different personality hats. Like here, I can come on and I can just boom bam with you, but I'm not gonna be the same way when I'm in a deal. Dave Chappelle talked about it as well. When I'm in there in the room, you know what I'm saying? Surrounded by all of the other folks who I'm negotiating something with, you're not gonna see the same ERGJ. You see what I'm saying? But I learned a different level of social skills to be able to have those business conversations with wealthy people who can invest in whatever it is that I'm trying to bring across their path. You see what I'm saying? So it's a different level of communicating. What's going on, Coleman? Get that money, get out and meet those items, keep it moving. And here's your action step of the day, guys. Here's what you want to do as it relates to what we talked about today. Wow. And look at this. Enroll in a course on etiquette delivered by the Palm Beach School of Protocol. I'm not going to say necessarily you want to go there. But I remember, back in the day, we used to have to go to an etiquette school. We used to have to learn how to set the table. We used to have to learn how to be proper. This was something that our grandparents and our great-grandparents used to go through. And it wasn't from a level of knowing how to serve. It was just really, at the end of the day, you think about it, it's from knowing, it was a level of refinement, renaissance. Because because you can go to the club, but how many of us have been to a ball? There's a difference, right? We can go to the club and get, and get jiggy with it. But how many of us have been to a ball, a gala? It's a whole different, you know what I'm saying? This is where refinement and wealth goes. And this is where, us and our peers and our cool people go. You see what I'm saying? And now here's the difference too. When you go to the club, and there's nothing wrong with going to the club, I'm just saying when we go to the club, there is no opportunity for engagement. The music all loud. You can't communicate. You ain't doing no business deals at the club. When you go to a gala or a ball, it's a program. You see what I'm saying? And the whole intent is for you to be able to eat at the table with people you don't know, get to know them, and also experience some type of performance, whether it be comedy or it be I went to one, it was a mime show, and they do all these different things to bring some type of entertainment, but you have an opportunity to connect with people, man. I was connected with business owners and just all types of people, man, that had influence. So let me ask you, my brother and my sister, I'm pretty sure you've been to a club. You hung out, you danced, drank all night. What type of business did you get done at the club? You might have found somebody to hook up with. But how many of you that I'm speaking to right now have ever been to a ball, a gala, a masquerade? You see what I'm saying? It's a whole nother level of partying. But it's partying with the opportunity to get your money up. So, one of my dreams, I always wanted to be able to host a masquerade ball of some sort, because I was like, man, we got Halloween all twisted. We'll go in the streets, but we could actually have a ball. That's one thing I want to do sometime when I really get that money and I can really afford a really, really nice place for my people to come, and we can expose you guys to a whole nother level of partying. And it ain't the partying where you're gonna go home with your feet hurt. You're gonna go home with your head hurting because you done made so many connections with people you didn't even know. Mayors, politicians, you know what I'm saying? Business people. Industry conventions. That's right, Marty. Industry conventions. So I hope that as you guys are tuning in to how rich people think, and you're paying attention to the comments, and you're connecting with people who are trying to help you to think differently, that you're tapping into some of these ideas. Because again, you don't have a money problem. No, you don't. You think you do. You don't have a money problem. What you have is an idea problem. And the reason why you have an idea problem, because you distract your very own mind by watching TV all day, by listening to the radio all day. When do you take the time to think? When do you take the time to think? At any rate, it's day number 97, man. We completed. Here's the deal, man. The middle class has access. Everybody say access to the social skills of the masses, while the world class has access to the social skills of the most refined among us. What's ERGJ from ERGJ Enterprises and Financial Book Club. 3 more days left in this book, and then we move on to the 48 Laws of Power. Now, of course, I've recommended these books to you. Why not get these books through me? You can do that at www.ergj.net. Hey, it's Saturday. Have a good day. Seize the day. Let's get it.